In this video, we're just going to practically look at one of the types of the presentations, and this is just an appendix to the training. Please make sure you've watched all the main training videos before this one. And in one of the main training videos, we looked at the main presentation, and in that presentation, we shared the different types of presentations, whether, some people use flip charts, some people go in with PowerPoints, others just go in with pictures, some actually do a drawing. I've often used the drawing, and I was asked just to simply add this video as an appendix to our set of videos. And so I'll just walk you through the drawing version of the presentation. I encourage you to look out for the building blocks. So you'll notice you should have watched the main presentation video already, you will see the building blocks come out in the drawing version of the presentation. And this is a form of presentation I started using about 10 years ago, and it works really well. It helps clarify the whole journey with the partner, and I found it very useful. Now again, you don't have to do this. This is just an example of how to do a drawing version of the presentation. So we're just going to dive straight in and go through it. So when I have a presentation with a partner, I would actually go in with a piece of paper, an A4 piece of paper, and obviously a pen and something to draw on. And I will basically go through the presentation and draw it for them. The nice thing about this, it helps the partner journey through the story. I do have some pictures with me and photographs with me if needed. But again, you don't have to do this, but this is just an example of a drawing presentation. So the first thing I do on the presentation, as mentioned, is I paint the picture of every nation, the global picture of every nation. So this is and I'm drawing this, I literally am drawing this on the page. I say, this is who we are as every nation. We're a family of churches that exist to honor God. We're planting campus ministries and establishing churches in all the nations. And that's the aspect where we actually just draw the global picture of every nation. This is an important part of the presentation, as mentioned in the previous video, because it shows the partner the scope of who every nation is. The size of the vision. It ignites their heart for what God is doing in the nations on a global scale. It's a vital part of the presentation. So whether you are doing a flip chart or a PowerPoint or just talking, or make sure you're adding all these bits and pieces into the presentation. The next building block, as I mentioned in the previous video, is to focus on some of the strategic focuses, or to highlight some of the strategic focuses of every nation. So for example, we might say, well, as every nation, we're focused on church planting. I'll give a one-liner description of that. We're focused on campus ministries, and I'll give a one-line of that is, and you might want to choose another one, youth, or let's just choose a community development or whatever, okay? These are some of the strategic focuses we as every nation are giving our focus to in the movement. You want to make sure that the ministry assignment that you're called to is included in one of these strategic focuses, okay? So we've painted the global picture, highlighted the strategic focuses. Please don't put all of them down here. Just choose 3, maybe 4, but make sure the one that you're involved in is included here. At this point in the presentation, I'll circle the one I'm involved in. So I'll say, Mr. Jones, my involvement is in campus ministries. No, I'll literally circle. I mean, this is exactly, I'm literally drawing what I do in the presentation. At this point in the presentation, so the person I'm presenting to can see global vision, strategic focuses, the one I'm involved in, and I will then write here why. Well, Mr. Jones, why do you think it's important for us to reach campus ministries? Let him answer. So let him speak. Why do you think it's important for us to reach campus ministries? This is where the open-ended questions come in. I will then go through things like, well, we're reaching the future leaders of the nation. It's the rudder of the nation. Most people come to Christ around this age group, but you want to establish 2, maybe 3 reasons why it's important for us to be reaching campus ministries. Painted the global picture, strategic focuses, where you're involved, why are you involved, and how. How do you reach campus? I'm literally writing this down here. You want to list. Please don't list everything you're doing in campus ministries, okay? Remember, you've got limited time here. Just list 2, maybe 3 things of some practical things you're doing to actually reach the university campus. Now, one of the useful things about a piece of paper is if, as you're engaging in conversation with your partner, he makes a comment about something. Oh, I came to Christ when I was at Stellenbosch. You can write here. You can just say, oh, you can make a comment. Stellenbosch. You're making comments as you go. you're keeping a little bit of track of some comments he's made, because you might have 4 or 5 presentations that day, and then when you get home at night and you want to update your systems, you can't remember who said what. And this is just, it's a simple way just to keep track of the communication. So at this point, it's global, the specific focuses, the campus focus, why we reach campus and how we reach campus. At this point in the presentation, sometimes I turn over the page, I will draw a line here and say, Mr. Jones, I want to share with you how we're actually doing, how we're making this all possible. And I want to share with you a program called Ministry Partnership. And I'll flip the page. So I'm just going to turn this flip chart, but normally you just flip the page over. Okay. So at this point in the presentation on a new page, I will describe what Ministry Partnership is. Okay? Ministry. Okay. Very important part of the presentation. I can't stress enough. This is really, really important. It's important that people understand what Ministry Partnership is. So what I will do at this point is say, Mr. Jones, there are missionaries like myself, and I'm literally drawing this, around the world, sharing with businessmen and women like yourself who've got a passion to see the gospel in the nations, who've got a passion to see young people to come to Christ, but you might not be called to go yourself. And we are sharing this vision with them all over the world, and these individuals are partnering with us for 300, 400, 500 Rand a month. And we've got missionaries around the world partnering monthly on a financial basis. And then we've got an organization, every nation, that collects and manages the funds of all these donations. So every month, these missionaries are paid a salary based on how much funds we've raised. So now you've explained what Ministry Partnership is. Next, you go to the ask. At this point, you want to put your pen down. Mr. Jones, at this point in time, would you be in a position to join us as one of our ministry partners for an amount of 3, 4, or 500 Rand a month? And at this point in the presentation, you do the ask, and then you keep quiet. You resist the temptation to suddenly jump back in and try and justify why you've asked for money. Let him speak. The ball's in his court. Resist the temptation to re-engage. But there you do the ask, you put your pen down, and you engage with him, and you let him respond. And then you move on to the handling responses. So this is just an example of the drawing version of the presentation. Again, look at the principles. Extract the principles and apply them in your context. You don't have to do this. A number of staff do this quite successfully. But this just gives you an idea of what the drawing version of the presentation looks like. Thank you.